This is the demo for the recruitment platform. When you are recruiting the candidate, you want to select the right candidate for a given functional role. Whether, for example, the role can be a sales executive or a software developer or a marketing manager or a leadership role. An organization would always want the most competent people to be qualified for the role. So before you even go for the interview, you can use this platform to find the suitability of the candidate for a given functional role. Now I'll show you the demo how the platform works. On the dashboard, when you create your recruiter profile, on the dashboard you will see there are 4 options. First is manage job, second is manage candidate, third is view demo, and fourth is buy licenses. I'll explain all of these one by one. Under manage job, you can create your job postings for different roles. So for example, today there's an opening for a software developer, tomorrow there's an opening for a team lead position, then there is an opening for a marketing manager, sales executive. So those kind of roles, depending on the job description, the job postings can be created from the manage job option. The second option is manage candidate. So once the job posting is created, using the manage candidate option, the test for that given functional role can be assigned to a candidate. We will look into it in detail. The third is view demo. It is the option from where you can view the platform demo on how the recruitment platform will work. And fourth is buy license, from where you can purchase license. So for one candidate to whom the test is assigned and the test report is downloaded, one license will be needed. Now, depending on the number of reports that you want to download, it is not based on the tests, the number of tests which is assigned, but the number of the actual reports which are downloaded. So if I assign it to, say, 10 different candidates, out of which 4 are not even writing the test, then and 6 have written the test, and we need to download the 6 reports, or maybe one of them is not qualified, so you only need to download 5 reports. So the license needed will be only 5, it will not be 10. So let me go to all of them one by one. The first is manage job. Under this, you can create your job posting. So here you see there are multiple options. You can also edit the existing job postings, or you can create a new job posting. I'll first go to create new job posting, then I'll also show you the edit option. Under create new job posting, we can create a completely new job posting. The first, there are multiple fields here, and then you see there are multiple competencies. There are around 22 competency here, and depending on the requirement of the job description, the right 6 competency need to be selected for the given role. For example, if it is a marketing manager role, then the competencies will be more focused on the marketing as well as on the leadership, communication, creativity. That kind of competency can be selected. If it is a software developer role, then it will be more focused on information technology, teamwork and collaboration, and then written communication and interpersonal skills. So those kind of, again, depending on the, if it is a business analyst, then possibly the business analysis skill will also be needed. So depending on the kind of job posting which is there, the right 6 competency need to be selected. Now, let me show it one by one. The first is job code. So I'll just create the job code. For example, the job code again is internal for an organization, and for when the job postings are created, automatically the job code also is created by the organization. But here, just for example, I'm writing something which is an open text, and whatever is the actual job code can be written here. For example, the date and then the role. For example, if it is a team lead software developer role, and then some kind of code. This is just an example. So one job code is given. Then I can give the company name. Whatever is the company name, I'm writing some, say, ABCD Limited here. The job title, in this case, it is team lead software developer. Experience level, again, depending on the experience level, the kind of questions asked will be different. The difficulty level will be different. So it is important to select the right experience level. In this case, it is team lead. So I'm assuming it is around, say, 3 to 7 years of experience. Possibly a manager and above will be 8+ years. Now, again, depending on the, the job posting, it can be selected. The job description, whatever is the JD, we can just copy paste here. Let's assume there are 4 open positions and it is in the state of, say, Karnataka in Bangalore. And we have to define the cutoff percentage. So let us say that the cutoff percentage is 60. So candidate needs to score at least 60% in the test to qualify. Otherwise, it will be disqualified automatically. The report will still come, but it will come as disqualified, and we can change this cutoff percentage at any point of time. Then the status is open for the job. So now these fields are fields we have given the information. We need to select the right competency. So let's assume this is a team lead position. So I'm selecting the right skills: teamwork and collaboration, information technology. A little bit of possibly project management skill is also needed for a team lead role. And then written communication. And I need to also check the critical thinking skill. And possibly I also need to check the numerical ability. Now, again, depending on the job requirements, the competency selected can be a little bit different. But I am just trying to demonstrate that we can select the six most appropriate competency for the role. So now I can create the job posting. My job posting is now created. Any point of time that I want to go and edit the job posting, for example, I want to change the cutoff percentage, I want to change the number of open positions, or I want to change the experience level, or anything else that I want to change. I want to change the competency. Those things can be done from here. Now the second field, this is clear now, manage jobs. The second is manage candidates. So under manage candidate, we can assign the right candidate, assign the functional test to the right candidate. When we add the candidate, automatically the test will get assigned. Now there are 2 options here: bulk upload and create candidate. Under bulk upload, we can actually do a bulk upload of the candidates. For example, if I have 50 or 100 candidates applying for the given role, they can, using this sample Excel sheet, the CSV file which is there, we can just download it, and then we can just fill in the information there, and the information will be the same as the create candidate. So I'll show you the information which is needed on the create candidate, exactly the same information, but here in the CSV you can populate it directly, and then you can just select the right job role, for example team lead, and you can click on the download CSV and download, and then you can fill in the data and upload. I'll show you the fields which will be needed. These fields will be needed. Also in the Excel, the same fields will be there. You just have to fill in them, but you can, they will be in different rows. So one row for all these fields, and you can select n number of rows. So the first name, last name, for example, I'm just writing something here, some information. So if the name is Ravi K, and I'm giving an email. So this email that I give here, the test will directly get assigned to this email. So this email has to be correct for the candidate. Otherwise, the email will go to the wrong place. So the candidate's email address has to be correct. And the phone number, it is not mandatory to have the candidate's phone number. You can also have the organization phone number which is repeated, which is perfectly fine. But if you have candidate phone number, that can also be that can also be given here. Now the password is something that we are setting up for the candidate. This password the candidate will receive in the email, and they have to use this password for giving the test. It has to be a minimum 6-digit password. Postal code again is something we have to give, and then the right job posting we have to select, because based on this job posting the test will be assigned to the candidate. Whatever is the job posting, depending on that a different test will be assigned. Now the test will have two parts, I'll show you that. But the second part, which is the functional part, will be based on the job posting and the competency that we have selected. Experience and salary is optional, and then we can also attach the candidate CV if you want. Is again an optional field. So here if you do a create, it says batch is for Indian student, valid pin code. So I think the pin code is not correct. Yeah, so now the candidate is created. Now if we go and see, we'll see that the candidate would have received an email for the test. So we'll just show you that. So as you can see now, the test, the invitation of the test has already come to this profile, the email ID which was added. And on this profile, the candidate has received the information that a test is now assigned from the company name, and this is the designation for which the test is there, and this is the website at which the candidate needs to go to take the test. Now in case of white label platform, like if you are recruiting for an organization, you want to white label the platform, that can be white label, and then the organization name will start reflecting instead of BODHAMI name. And whoever is the recruiter, the person who has assigned the test, whose email ID will also be reflected here. Now I will just take a note of the login ID. You just have to click on this link, and I have to copy paste the login ID and password, which is for the test. Now once the candidate is doing the login, they will see the take test option. So they just have to click on the take test from their dashboard, and the test will automatically open. There are multiple languages in which the test can be taken. Right now there are 4 languages, but let us understand for now that the candidate selects the English language, and then the test can be taken in English language. Now we'll see that there are 2 portions of this test here. First is aptitude test, where the candidate's aptitude will be tested, and the second will be the functional test, where the functional competency for a given level, given role will be tested. So in this case, it is a team lead software developer. We have selected 6 competencies. So based on those competency levels, the candidate's skill will be tested, apart from the general aptitude. So the first section is on the aptitude. Candidate has to click on the start test, and now a test appears, and the time for the test also starts to appear. A total 75 minutes for the test. Now the candidate will start answering the questions. So when the candidate has finished the test, then the candidate will press the submit button. Now the candidate can also mark some questions for review, whatever question that they want, and later on they can just review go to the question, review it. If they want to change the option, they can change it. And then ultimately they have to submit the test. So once the first part of the test is submitted, then the aptitude test part is over, And the second part, which is functional test, will start. This is the section 2, which is the functional test, which will test the candidate for the functional competency levels. So now the candidate has to give the competency test, which will have total 36 questions. So first portion had 42, and now this portion has 36 questions. Total 75 minutes time is there for all these questions. So candidate has to finish this part and submit it. So now I can submit the functional test once I have completed all the questions. And once the functional test is submitted, it automatically goes to the recruitment person who has assigned the test. So we'll go back to the recruitment person's login and see the results. So now this is the dashboard of the recruitment professional, where the result can be seen. You have to go to the manage candidates, and in that this test was assigned last. So you'll see you can also search from the first name, last name, the email, or the job code or the status. And then here you can go and open the report and view the report for the candidate. So this report is based on the aptitude test as well as the functional test that the candidate has given. So now this report is opening. So I can see the candidate detail, the phone number and the name. And then I can also see the overall score. What is the score in the aptitude test? What is the functional score, and then the candidate status. Now in this case, because we had given the threshold as 60%, the cutoff percentage is 60%, and the aptitude score is less than 60%, the status is shown as not matched. If the score of the aptitude also was greater than 60, then the score would have come as matched. And we can see the result. I mean, it shows as not matched, but again, it depends on the person who is looking at the report, what decision the person wants to take. If they still want to go ahead with the interview round, they can do it, because the aptitude score is close to that 60%. And the functional score is greater than 60%. So here now you can see the strength areas for the candidate. So motor skills, speech, memorizing, these are the strength area. And in the functional, the written communication, information technology, application, and the teamwork and collaboration are the strength areas for the candidate. These are the top 3 areas. And then there are certain improvement areas. For example, the numerical aptitude, the candidate has scored very low, only 0%. None of the questions are right. And then analytical is one of the improvement area for the candidate. And in the improvement area in the function, there are certain areas like numerical ability, critical thinking, project management. So numerical ability and both are the problem area. Critical thinking is also a low score area in the functional side. So these are the trends that you get to see. And then depending on the aptitude test and the candidate has given, not the functional test, but the first test, which was the aptitude test, the report also shows what are the top career options for the candidate. So basically you can get a glimpse of what kind of careers would be good for this candidate. And then you can also look at the current job opening and the job description, and you can actually see how far it is matching. So in this case, you see the top option for the candidate is advertising, the second is media, the third is lawyer, and the computer and IT professional comes at around 5th or 6th option at 66.8% of match. It is still greater than the 60% of match, but it is not a top match for the candidate. Now, this is the area where you can see the next level of the job applicability. So within the job option which is applicable, what are the different sub job areas which will be good? However, this is not directly related here in this case because this is for a team lead software professional, position. So, but within the computer and IT, we can actually, depending on the aptitude score, we can actually find out what kind of job options will be good for this candidate. Now, because the score, it says that if it is greater than 80%, the green ones are applicable. The medium score, which is between say 60 to 80, the next one, the orange one, is applicable, and then less than 60 will be the lowest scores. So in this case, again, it will say that the orange ones are more applicable for this professional. Now we can look at the detailed report: intelligence quotient, physical quotient, and social quotient for the person. And we can see that the intelligence quotient is quite reasonable for the professional. The physical quotient is very high. It means the candidate is very physically active, either into a sports or some kind of physical activity, but the social quotient is not very high. But depending on, again, on the job profile, for example, for a team lead software developer, then it is a decision which the organization can make, what kind of profile they want. But this is the profile that the candidate has. And then you can also look at the candidate's overall aptitude skill score in different areas. So the ones in blue are the candidate score, and the one in red are the median score. So in this case, you can see some of the areas candidate has done very well, like creativity and memorizing and the motor skills, and the speech area is very good for the candidate. And some of the areas are very low. For example, the visual perception seems pretty low. The numerical aptitude seems pretty low. The language skill is kind of close to the median. The discipline is a little bit low. So those skill wise, we can look at the candidate's performance and we can see how the candidates have performed. Again, the skill area wise, and out of these 8 skill areas, what are the areas in which the candidate is good and what are the areas in which the candidate is not good, that can be found out. For example, the physical abilities, the candidate is excellent. Imagination is very good. Literacy, communication looks quite good. Then the leading vision is kind of average, and some of the areas are weak, like critical thinking, problem solving seems to be a weak area for the candidate. So now it is a decision that the organization has to take, that with this kind of profile, having that in mind, that how the candidate has performed and whether the candidate is qualified or not based on the threshold percentage that was selected, how the interview has to be taken. So this input can also be used for the interview or for shortlisting the candidate, whether the candidate is shortlisted or not. And then on different skill areas, as we have seen, this is the same skill area performance that we've seen. This is a different presentation of that, linear presentation of that, and which skill area the candidate is good and which skill areas the candidate is average, and where the candidate has not performed well, that we can see from here. So the one in blue is the candidate score, and the one in this reddish is the average or median score. Now on the functional score, as you can see, again shows the performance of the candidate vis-a-vis the performance of the median, and this also gives a very good idea of how the candidate has performed. And then the functional competency wise performance can also be seen in the different areas, like the numerical ability, critical thinking, project management, information technology, teamwork and collaboration, and written communication. These areas, 6 areas, how the candidate is, these 6 competency, how the candidate has performed, that is presented. So based on all this, the decision can be taken by the recruitment professional. And then it also shows the persona for the candidate. What is the persona type of the candidate? Whether the in terms of the 10 different personas which are defined here, which actually defines the persona of the candidate. For example, the candidate is not very analytical. It is a mix of analytical and intuition, but focuses more on intuition than analytical ability. The candidate is very good imagination, and the candidate is quite inventive. But in terms of the problem solving skills, it is not very high. Candidate is enterprising, but the candidate is not very disciplined and not very sociable. So those kind of things you can find out from the report. So this report gives a very, very good glimpse of the candidate in terms of looking at the candidate profile and using those as an input to either qualify or disqualify, or if qualified, then the input can also be taken into the interview session, and then based on that, the further analysis of the candidate can be done, because a high level of scientific analysis is already done for the candidate. So the last part is the buy licenses part. So depending on the license that somebody wants to purchase, the number of licenses, they can go ahead and select the number of license and purchase it for the candidate. Now that we saw that the candidate could not qualify because of the cutoff percentage as 60, we can also see that the cutoff percentage can be changed at any point of time. So if I go to the again to the dashboard and I go to the manage jobs and go to my job which has been created, I can search with the job code or the title or even the status, the open, closed, on hold. So I go to the edit job and I change the cutoff percentage as 50% in this case. It's just an example, and now it is updated. Now we will see that the candidate would, the profile of the candidate would come as qualified. So we can go there and check manage candidates, and I will go to the report for the candidate, and now I can see that the candidate status is coming as matched, because now the cutoff percentage is 50 and the candidate has got 58.3 in aptitude and 66.7 in functional. Now the only reason to show it is that the cutoff percentage can be changed at any point of time, and then accordingly automatically it will get updated in the report. However, when you're defining the job profile, at that point of time we can always define a cutoff percentage for which the candidates will either be selected or they will be rejected. And it can also be based on the performance, the average performance of the candidates, or the performance of the candidates in the past, or the kind of benchmark that we want to set in for recruitment. So based on all these kind of things, and maybe the level of seniority and how many people have applied for the position. So all those things can be considered before defining the cutoff percentage, and that can be changed at any point of time and automatically start reflecting in the existing reports as well.